Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric, and I got another fun Konami treat for you guys this Friday because we've been on a bit of a Konami bender lately, and we're going to be playing Police 911, also known as the Keisatsukan in Japan. If I got that pronunciation wrong, I apologize, I do the best I can. But this also runs on the Konami Viper PCB. We're actually playing it on the PlayStation 2 today because this is one of the few games from the Konami Viper that did get ported home, and of course we have to talk about it. Before we get too far involved, though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But it's absolutely spectacular we have a game like this on a home console, because very few of Konami's 3D arcade games ever got ported home. From the Viper you get Police 911, a silent scope, and that's basically it. Most of the games on that platform have never seen release to home consoles. So the fact that we actually got this is spectacular, and the way that it functions is even weirder. Because on the cabinet you had full motion controls, and of course we don't exactly have that on the PlayStation 2. But here's the catch. You can plug in a specific webcam and use a specific light gun so that you can actually move in real time on real PlayStation 2 hardware. Now I do have that hardware because of course I'm me and I do weird things. The only issue is I cannot get it to sync through my PVM while using the actual Konami light gun. I know there's other ways to do it, so if you really want to see how that works, leave me a comment and maybe I'll make a video on it. Because I will say this is absolutely a spectacular game, even if it is completely cheesy, and I love that this actually came home. This is not the type of thing you would expect Konami to bring to the PlayStation 2, and interestingly it only ever came out in Europe and Japan. There is no US copy of this game. But it is remarkable in how it functions. Having full range of motion around the screen and having to duck in and out of cover is very interesting. Now, of course, we had things like Time Crisis where you had a pedal that would put you into cover, but in this game you basically have a full range of motion, as you will see here. Depending on how you move, your character moves, and it is really fun that they just left the complete arcade cabinet in here. Because if you haven't noticed yet, this is not the prettiest looking PlayStation game in the world, and that is because it's basically a direct port from the Viper, graphics included. And how do I know that? Because I do have a Konami Viper, and I also have Police 911 and Police 911 2 on that board. But the setup for that is even more complicated, and I've yet to actually acquire all the parts to do it. But it's such an interesting and unique game. Obviously, if you played a light gun shooter, you understand what's going on, but the added benefit of all of that cover system and having free range of motion makes it like something you've never played before. And even the boss fights are quite interesting. You have one boss character in each scenario, and all you have to do is shoot them once. But they're either moving constantly or they're very far off in the distance, which means your aim needs to be basically perfect. And I will say, when I play this on the PlayStation 2, the Konami light gun just does not have the skills to pay the bills when it comes to accuracy, unfortunately. It is nowhere near as good as the GunCon 2. But this game is just so much fun. It's so weird, it's so quirky, it's esoteric, and obviously I'm Video Game Esoterica, so you know I'm going to love it. When you get to stage 2 though, Konami starts throwing in the bystanders, and if you hit them, you're going to lose a life, which isn't the worst thing in the world. The actual hardest part is that timer you see at the top of your screen. When you're going through the death animation, that timer is running down. When you're playing the game, the timer is running down, and it is not a very generous timer, and it doesn't matter how many lives you have left. Once that timer hits 0, the game is going to make you take a credit. You only get a maximum of 10, so you need to basically learn this game from start to finish to see the ending on PlayStation 2, because we cannot just credit feed it. Now maybe there's some code for infinite credits, but I don't speak Japanese, so I've never been able to find one online. But this is just such a fun and interesting game, and I will say I love the graphical style of it. It kind of reminds me of the 3DO M2 with Total Vice, mixed with like a less powerful Dreamcast, because this was basically 1999-2000 PC hardware. It uses a 3DFX chip. Obviously we're just transposing that to the PlayStation 2 now, but it has a vibe and a time and a place that I'm 100% into visually, and when you make it a light gun game and give it an extra mechanic like having free range of motion, it is the type of game that I am 100% going to fall in love with, and of course I have, because I've been playing it for years. Now that I do have the arcade board, one day I will set up the full IR sensor array with the light gun so I can play this in my living room like it was intended. Because interestingly, the aspect ratio you're seeing it here, 4:3, was not how it was presented in arcades. It was actually in Tate mode, and it had a vertical screen. But of course, it's Konami. They've always got fun music, so go ahead and listen to it for like 45 seconds, and I'll come back and tell you more about the game.
If
It's the type of dramatic action movie soundtrack you would expect out of a game like this, but that scream sound effect comes directly from Thrill Drive and Thrill Drive 2, and it is fun to hear that in other place. You will see we're onto our second boss battle, and I just get shot completely through the head. These boss battles are extremely difficult. It doesn't matter how you're aiming or what device you're using, the target in the back is just tiny, and there's always enemies shooting at you. But that's why it only takes one good shot to put the boss character down. Just like in Silent Scope, if you have a good headshot in one of the boss battles there, you can take an entire life bar off at once. And this game has a lot of similarities to Silent Scope, not in the function, but in the form. And you will see right there, the game will trick you sometimes that partner cop directly ran into my line of sight and I could not do anything but shoot them in the back. And sometimes you get into a situation where I'm not sure if the AI stops working, but that character will not get out of my way, so I guess the best thing to do is a little friendly fire there so I have a free shot from behind. Not recommended for real life, perfectly fine for Police 911. But this game also feels like in some way, shape, or form that it's tied to Total Vice as well. Now this is basically an unofficial sequel to Lethal Enforcers, and Lethal Enforcers 3 would be basically an unofficial sequel to the Police 911 series, because there is a second game, but it never got ported home. There's Police 911 2, which was an upgrade to Police 911 on the Viper, and it used a security upgrade dongle along with a new card to give you more game in the series. And of course I have that one in my collection as well, so when and if I ever get it running I will definitely do a video on that, because these aren't games that get talked about very often, and that's really unfortunate because they're both really interesting from a historical and arcade design perspective, and they're just really fun, quirky, weird games that you 100% should check out for yourself just to see what was going on in the late 90s and early 2000s, because arcades were always experimenting with their different methodologies of control, and it is so weird and amazing that Konami brought all of that to the PlayStation 2 with a webcam that will basically look at where you are in real time, and when you move your body that webcam will ingest that data and move you around in the PlayStation 2 in real time. Now I will say it's nowhere near as accomplished as it is in an arcade cabinet, and yes, I have played it, but it works relatively decently enough, and once you get to something like PSVR and PlayStation 4, some of the outlines in that are almost identical to what's here in Police 911. I'm not saying they're tied together, it's just a really interesting thought. But now we are moving on to the third stage, and as you go through this game, it just gets harder and harder, and trying to see the ending on those 10 credits is going to be extremely difficult. I haven't seen it for years, and I certainly did not see it on this playthrough either. But that's the thing about a game like Police 911, it's so weird and unique and entertaining, it makes you want to restart the minute you lose. And that's the best thing I can say about a game like this. It makes you want to come back for more. Now I understand this is a niche title in a niche series, but honestly guys, you're a niche audience. You watch me talk about esoteric stuff all the time, and I've been waiting to do more stuff like this until I got a bigger audience. Because where else can I talk about the fact that there's a mini game in a PlayStation 2 game where you can move your body left and right on webcam, trying to avoid Yakuza members that are running down a disco stage trying to stab you. And the music's absolutely hilarious. Go ahead and listen just for like 10 seconds, because it's so much fun. I mean, that's just the thing you can do on your PlayStation 2. Hook up a webcam and dodge left and right to make sure you don't get stabbed by Yakuzas. But there's other strange things in this game, like that really bad tree that's posted in the back there. Clearly that's a little bit of a graphical glitch coming over from the Konami Viper, and it's just not working on the PlayStation 2. But you just get this little mini game where you shoot balloons, and nothing really happens, but if you don't lean right and look for something, you're going to notice a balloon coming from your periphery. You've lost the game, it hits the ground, and it basically causes a nuclear explosion that destroys the city, and that's how it reads to me, and that's just the thing that happens in Police 911. There's just some absurd aspects of this game that make absolutely no sense, and that's one more reason I love it. It's a unique game, it's a ton of fun, and you've never played anything like it if you haven't played it. But leave me a comment down below if you ever played the game, and if not, are you planning on checking it out after this video? Let me know if you want to see me play this on webcam, and short of that, I'll have videos throughout the week, and I'll be back next Friday with something else weird. But I'll see you next time. Bye bye.